boxing. Man, shut the door, sit down, clean your ears, and stop listening to what your mama needs you to be doing right now. You're gonna listen to the Boxing Podcast. Man, okay. Hit it.
Fucking amazing weekend. We had actually just amazing week overall. We had a lot going on this week, and that's what we're gonna cover, because that's what this podcast does. It covers the latest and the greatest and the best and the most entertaining boxing news. Oh my god, I need some water. No, guys, I hope you guys watched the fights this past weekend, because we had a lot of interesting outcomes, and some of which I did not expect to play out the way they did, but they did. And I mean, I guess it was nothing too surprising, but for one, Ricky Hatton's son, Campbell Hatton, had his pro debut this past weekend, and that was under the Dillian Whyte versus Alexander Povetkin rematch. Campbell Hatton is the spitting image of his father, Ricky Hatton, and they look so much alike. And here's the thing: when you have a fighter that is the son of a legend, Ricky Hatton, that puts an automatic target on your back, and it's going to make your career so much difficult. It's going to make every part of your career so much more difficult. For one, it's going to make training difficult. You are going to be in training camp, and when you're in training camp, you are going to hear media, your fans, the fans of your opponents. You're gonna everyone in the boxing world, people that you look up to. A lot of the times they will say negative things, compare you to your dad, and it's going to bring you down, and it's going to make it really hard for you to stay focused in training camp. And I say that because, yes, maybe someone can take that as like a motivation, but the mind is a very fragile thing. And the mind of a boxer is an even more fragile thing than the mind of a scientist. Like in boxing, you have to be strong-minded. You have to be strong-minded in training camp. You have to be strong-minded when you're facing your opponent, when you're actually like at press conferences, and then when you actually get into the ring to fight. And I just think that would make it hard for Campbell Hatton. Just to try to fill the shoes of Ricky Hatton's. I will say, I do like that Campbell Hatton did not continue with the Hitman Hatton name. He changed it up. He is known as Hurricane Hatton, which is decent. I like it. It's fine. I do prefer Hitman Hatton. And so see there I go again. I myself am comparing Campbell Hatton already with his father, and I'm just talking about their names, like their boxing names, and people will do that throughout his career, more than just his names, but the way he trains, the way he performs. And that's what I want to get into. How did Campbell Hatton perform in his pro debut versus Jesus Ruiz? So I just want you guys to keep this in mind. Well, here, let me start off by saying this. I believe that Campbell Hatton did an okay job in his pro debut against Jesus Ruiz. I would give him I'd probably give him a C, to be honest. And that can be excusable because it is his pro debut, and a lot of the time when you're in your pro debut, you have a lot of nerves. You want to prove a point. You want to get the knockout so you can be an exciting fighter. Everyone's riding on your pro debut. Your pro debut will set the stage for how you're going to perform in the future. So when it comes to a sport like boxing that talks a lot of money, it can put so much pressure on a fighter to just go out there and do such a great job. And when they go out there and they have all of this pressure, it puts all technicalities aside. Your skill, your calm fighter mentality just out the window, and that's what can make a pro debut really difficult. But keep in mind that Jesus Ruiz, Campbell Hatton's first opponent, came into this fight with 0 wins and 10 losses. So that's reasonable. I mean, you're always going to have like a very shitty opponent for your first fight. However, I don't know, just like all losses, 10 losses, no wins, and you're the son of Ricky Hatton. And here we go, judging him again. But I mean, you're the son of Ricky Hatton. We're gonna hold you to higher expectations. So I'm a little surprised that the guy had at least like no wins. I will say Hatton did load up a lot on his punches, and he missed a lot of those punches, and a lot of those punches were ineffective because they were blocked. But what I did like about his punches is he did keep the trait of his father in going to the body a lot. He's kind of not the best at disguising the punches, but again, that is excusable because it is his pro debut, and you know, nerves come to play. So he does seem to have a big focus on the body. Not as hard as a puncher as Ricky Hatton, but he does seem, you know, he's very young. He is, you know, he's still coming into a man's body. So maybe as he gets older, he'll develop his man strength and will have harder landing punches. But you know, what I find confusing is that Matthew Hatton, a former opponent of Canelo and also Campbell Hatton's uncle, is actually his trainer. And that's confusing because why would you have Matthew Hatton, the least successful boxer among Ricky Hatton and Matthew Hatton, be the trainer for Campbell Hatton? I would think that Ricky Hatton would take the responsibility of training his son, especially because he was more successful. So you would think that a more successful trainer, that being your father, would want to train you so he could pass down all of his knowledge and tips and techniques to you. And one would think, well, Ricky Hatton and Matthew Hatton are brothers. Shouldn't they have near the same techniques? So maybe they were trained under the same trainer, and maybe the techniques will carry on that way. And it's not going to be like that. You could be trained by the same person, and you will be completely different from somebody in your training camp or in your stable. And so that could be the case. I mean, I've watched Matthew Hatton's fight against Canelo. I haven't watched many of his other fights, but I will say that him and Ricky Hatton have a completely different fighting style. So when you're watching Campbell Hatton, I would urge you not to expect that Campbell Hatton is going to fight just like his father. If anything, he's going to fight more like his uncle, and that's only natural. So yeah, that's a little confusing. But Campbell Hatton, congrats on your first victory, man. I did see on Boxing Rec that you have another fight scheduled for May. They don't have your opponent yet, but I'm looking forward to that, and I'll definitely be watching because I'm a huge fan of your father, and I'm hoping you can continue the legacy for him. So yeah, and dude, let's talk about Dillian Whyte, man. The balls on the man. The balls on the man. When you get knocked out and you come back to fight the person that knocked you out in the rematch, likely you're going to be a little scared. You're going to be a little worried. The knockout that you suffered in the past is going to be looming in the back of your mind the whole way through training camp, through the press conferences, when you're walking into the ring, and once you're fighting the knockout, that the person standing right across from you has knocked you out before and you're facing him again. That will eat a man alive. And what's crazy is that did not eat Dillian Whyte up, and that was freaking insane because he performed like he had never been knocked out by Alexander Povetkin. And I think that was that was an advantage for him to go in there and fight like he wasn't knocked out by Povetkin in the past. Because when you fight with zero confidence and you're backing up the whole time and most of your fight game is to defend and just win by points, dude, you got another person on the other side of the room who knows he can knock you out because he's done it before, he's done it in the past, and he knows that that's in the back of your mind, and he knows you're scared of his punching power because he has the punching power to knock you out. So it was crazy to me that Dillian Whyte just went out there, dude. He even made a couple of mistakes, if not a lot of mistakes. He left his head hanging out in the air when he was swinging for punches. Definitely almost got caught in a flurry that they had. It was just, overall, it was a great performance by Dillian Whyte. He is definitely a force to still be reckoned with. I know a lot of the people that, I know most people thought that he was finished after losing to Povetkin like that, because, Povetkin is an older fighter. And Dillian Whyte, he's always calling out Anthony Joshua, always wanting that rematch. And when he did suffer that KO loss, he, that set him back a lot, man. When you're trying to fight somebody that's the very top and you lose to someone that's kind of, not to say that Povetkin's at the bottom, but old and on his way out of boxing, losing to someone like that will set you back. People won't fight you. People will run from you. And I'm not saying Anthony Joshua is a runner, but if he can avoid Dillian Whyte again, like if he can avoid Dillian Whyte based on the fact that he lost to someone that's old, if I'm Anthony Joshua, I'm taking that route. I'm getting out of that fight because I wouldn't want to fight Dillian Whyte. He is crafty, he's dangerous, and he hits hard, and he's definitely an elite. So congrats to Dillian Whyte on your revenge. That was a really good one. If I were to have guessed, I did not think that the fight was going to end like that. I thought the fight was going to go the full 12 rounds, and I thought Dillian Whyte was going to get the best of all of the exchanges and win like that. But Dillian Whyte obviously came to fucking fight. He came to beat the hell out of Alexander Povetkin, and that's exactly what he did. The KO was crazy. And then not only was the KO crazy, but the sportsmanship at the end of that fight was amazing. And the way, if you watch the end of the fight, Dillian Whyte goes and grabs the stool from his side of the corner, brings it to Alexander Povetkin corner, and he puts it, he just sets it down, and he tells Alexander, take a seat, man. And to my surprise, I'm surprised that Alexander Povetkin's team didn't do that for him. Like, what the hell was his team doing keeping him standing up? Like, sit the man down. He just suffered a KO in the heavyweight division, bro. Put the seat down. Don't wait for the guy, his opponent that knocked him out, all gloved up, walk all the way to his freaking corner, walk all the way back, and set the damn seat down for you. Povetkin's team needs to get on his shit, because the opponent shouldn't have brought him the stool. I thought that was hilarious. But I also thought it was amazing of Dillian Whyte to do. So props to Dillian Whyte, and then props to Alexander Povetkin. If there's a third rematch, I don't know. They're one apiece, and I always think that when two fighters are one apiece, there has to be that third rematch, bro. You can't just walk away like that. Especially in Dillian Whyte's shoes, you can't walk away like that. You got to give Alexander his props. Give him another go at it. Defeat him that last time and then walk away. I just think that way because if you're not fighting him, if you're not fighting him again after he just gave you a shot at redemption, give him a shot at redemption. It's only fair, right? I feel like that's only fair. But speaking of another heavyweight fight, UFC 260, Francis Ngannou versus Stipe Miocic. Freaking crazy. Amazing fight. Holy cow. That was a spectacular performance by Ngannou. KO'd Miocic in the 52-second mark of round number 2. Damn. It's it was a really good performance by Francis Ngannou. Not only because he got the knockout, but because of the patience that he showed during this fight. If you've watched many of Francis Ngannou's past fights, this dude swings for the fences, man. Like, I'm talking swings. Like, he swings. And when he does, it's just like, you're kind of worried for him because those punches are just flailing. And then when you're throwing flailing punches, you always got the chance of getting knocked out yourself. And I just thought, oh my God, if that's the Francis Ngannou we're going to see in this rematch, I don't see him winning. But I'll tell you guys this, I did bet money on Francis Ngannou because he has punching power and because he comes in swinging. And, you know, in the UFC, in the fight game, in boxing, and especially the UFC, anything can happen, dude. I'm telling you. You got legs coming at you from both directions, punches, takedowns, slams, everything. And when you got someone like Francis Ngannou, the fucking monster that he is, it is insane. Anything can happen. And if you're going to bet on a knockout, you might as well bet on this big-ass, black, meaty, buff dude that's fighting, you know, Stipe Miocic. And so that's what I did. I bet $40 on him. And you know what's crazy? And I'm calling you guys out, DraftKings. I'm calling you guys out for this. I know I put my money on Francis Ngannou. However, right after he lost, I go into my DraftKings app and I check because I knew I was going to collect about $80 in winnings. And so I go to the app and it says I lost. It actually said I bet on Stipe. I was so confused. I knew I had bet on Ngannou and I just did not know what happened. So I was really confused and I went on Twitter. And if you guys follow my Twitter, I tweeted at DraftKings Sporting Books. I tweeted at DraftKings in general. I was pissed, dude. I was like, yo, I bet my money on the right person, Francis Ngannou, and you guys took my, and it was only $40, but still, they took my freaking money, and I was pissed. But yeah, enough about that. Francis Ngannou, super patient, and throughout the whole fight, throughout all 2 rounds, just took his time picking his shots. He wasn't, even when he was landing like really good shots, he didn't come out and just try to kill Stipe. You know, he landed some questionable shots that you would think, oh, you know, I think that might have stung him. Like, I think that might have stung my opponent. Maybe I should just hop on him and just destroy him right now. No, Francis Ngannou did not do that. If he landed a good shot, he bopped through the shot and then was back, chilling, bobbing and weaving, just maintaining his composure. And, oh my God, dude, he was landing everything. It seemed like he was landing everything. It seemed like anything that Francis was throwing, he wasn't missing. He landed some good shit on Stipe, and I'm surprised Stipe didn't go down at that leg kick. There was a leg kick in the first round that I was just like, oh my God, how could you survive a leg kick by Francis Ngannou? And if you haven't seen the video when Francis Ngannou throws a fucking leg kick and the power that the sound that makes just backs up the amount of power coming from every limb on Francis Ngannou. It's insane. No, man, but the knockout, it was vicious. Francis Ngannou versus Stipe Miocic. The knockout was vicious, man. You know, because it was very fast-paced. Like, you know, first Francis is coming at Stipe. Boom, boom, boom. And then Stipe is just chilling. And Francis Ngannou just so I remember this. They're like kind of like, I think Francis is fighting on the back foot, and then Francis is throwing his punches, and as he's throwing his punches, Stipe actually catches Francis Ngannou with a punch. And when he caught Francis with that punch, Stipe in his head, he was like, you know what? I think I might have clipped this guy. I think I might have hurt him. And maybe he did, we don't really know. But false, he did not hurt them, and he did not hurt him. And because he thought he had hurt Francis, he just walks in, guard down, ready to throw a punch. However, Francis Ngannou capitalized on that and just starched him, and boom, Stipe hit the floor. It was crazy. Again, this is another thing where I'm just like, should Stipe get a rematch? Should he be able to rematch Francis Ngannou? I mean, I know Stipe has accomplished so much in the heavyweight division in the UFC. So it's like, do you give this champion, this long reigning champion, a rematch against someone that he's previously beaten? Probably. I mean, I would think. I know a lot of people might not want to watch that or give Stipe the chance just because of how vicious the knockout was. But every fight can be different, man. Making small little adjustments in your game plan, it could change the fight. I mean, for example, think of Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier. At the first fight, Conor McGregor starched Dustin Poirier in the first round. And then, come the rematch, Dustin Poirier goes to those legs with the calf kicks, and boom, just destroyed Conor, knocked him out, and finished him cold. And so that's my reasoning. That is my reasoning. Man, another thing that was crazy is the Jake Paul versus Ben Askren press conference. Oh my God. The whole time, both of these guys were trolling each other like they were sixth graders. Seriously, they looked like middle schoolers sitting on stools talking shit to each other. And I'm gonna be honest, Jake Paul probably had the better roasts, but both sides suck. Like it just sounds like little kids. I mean, to be honest, Ben Askren just doesn't seem bothered by anything, and the one who does seem bothered by a lot is Jake Paul. I'm not gonna lie, Jake Paul seems bothered by everything that Ben Askren said. And to be honest, I think what really got to him is when Ben Askren said, when he talked shit about Jake living in Logan Paul's shadow. He called him the little brother, always living in his older brother's shadow. And I thought that was good, because we all know, if you know Jake Paul and Logan Paul, we all know that's exactly how you get to Jake's heart, and that's what destroys him. However, they do love each other, and so I'm not saying it's like they're super competing, but I know there's that small little competitiveness between both of them. But I did see videos of Askren training with Freddie Roach and Gabriel Rosado. And I'm going to tell you one thing is that I'm not impressed by the training footage at all. I think that Ben Askren just does not generate a lot of power. And not only that, but his punches are so sloppy. They're not... And not only that, like, you don't have to have the most power to win a boxing fight. But I'm just saying, overall, his punches just seem like little noodles coming at you. Like little flimsy noodles coming at you. And they almost look like they could be trumped if like someone were to throw a stronger punch. Like it just like move your hands back, Like if Jake Paul were to like throw a punch while Ben Askren is throwing a punch, and in their trajectories collide, I think that Jake Paul's punch is probably gonna make it through, and Ben Askren's hands are just gonna go back. So yeah, I don't know, man. That fight was crazy. It's gonna be on April 17th on Triller. And what's funny about that press conference is Jake Paul did seem to get very mad when Ben Askren was just, I guess. So what Ben Askren did do is, I know during their face-off, Ben Askren was just put his hand on Jake Paul's face and then just threw it to the side. And Jake Paul got pissed, dude. He ran up at Ben Askren. He's like, "Come on, man, let's go, let's fight." And Ben Askren just like didn't care. Honestly, it seems like Ben Askren's almost toying with him because he knows Jake Paul won't fight him like in a street fight. Like he won't actually come at him during the press conference. If Jake Paul were to come at Ben Askren during the press conference, that means there's no rules involved. And if there's no rules involved, I believe Ben Askren will beat Jake Paul. But yeah, he did kind of fluster Jake, and Jake almost seems very emotionally invested, so it's going to be interesting to see if Jake Paul really fights with his emotions in mind during that fight. And if he does fight with his emotions, you'll be able to tell easily just by the way he's swinging his punches, and if whether he's tired or not by the third round. If he fights with his emotions intact, then he will prosper and do well, and I think he will knock Ben Askren out. But I just don't see Ben Askren beating Jake Paul. So yeah, I don't know. Ben Askren did a hilarious job at toying with Jake Paul. That was so funny. Oh my God, when he put his hand on him and just threw his face to the side, and Jake Paul I think Jake Paul punched Ben Askren on his hip. I was like, did he punch him there? Because he knows he got like a new hip or something. And then not only that, but I know Ben Askren went into that little face-off cube, and then he was just talking shit to Jake Paul. And Jake Paul kept telling him to come down here and fight him. And God damn, what is wrong with me today, guys? I am feeling off today. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see who really wins. I don't know how I feel about Ben Askren training with Gabriel Rosado. I don't know. Anyways, another thing, Oscar De La Hoya July 3rd comeback was announced alongside Snoop Dogg on a Triller conference, or I think they were announcing like the start of a new promotion called the Fight Club Triller or something like that. But Oscar De La Hoya did announce that he will be making a comeback on July 3rd, 2021, or that's the date that he wants to make a comeback on. You know, things change easily in boxing. But this is after 13 years of inactivity. His last fight was in 2008 against Manny Pacquiao, my man. And his fight's going to be on Triller, duh. So now my question is, I remember last year, Oscar De La Hoya was saying that the fight was going to be a legit fight against a legit opponent, and it wasn't going to be an exhibition. It wasn't going to be some celebrity star. It was going to be a legit opponent, 12-round fight. No pity patty. And so now that it's on Triller, I'm starting to question whether that is true or not, because Triller seems to be hosting all of these celebrity boxing matches. And I say that because Jake Paul versus Nate Robinson was a celebrity boxing match. And then Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. I know they're not celebrities in their own rights. They're more fighters who are famous. So I guess, maybe kind of celebrities, but these are older men, and they did an exhibition fight, and they are now more considered just regular celebrities versus, fighters who are fighting, or active fighters. So now, because Oscar De La Hoya is fighting on Triller, now I question whether his fight's going to be legit. I did hear that he was going to fight a UFC opponent. To be honest, if you're going to come back and fight UFC opponents and celebrities or fighters in their in retirement as well, I just would rather not see Oscar De La Hoya come back, just because I know that he is a promoter himself. And I think that when you start getting the promoter into all of this little fantasy boxing matches, it just starts looking bad. It's really going to start just making the sport look unstable. It's going to start making boxing look like a joke, where we just get all these old fighters out of retirement and get all these celebrities matched up with YouTube stars and athletes from other sports. And I don't know. I am not for Oscar De La Hoya fighting, although I do think it'd be interesting if he came back and fought a legitimate opponent. But again, I think that's dangerous. I don't know if Oscar De La Hoya really wants to put himself in that sort of risk. So Oscar De La Hoya, play your cards right, man, because although you are not the actual face of boxing, you are a big face of boxing, and I think a lot of people look to you when it comes to legitimizing our sport. So, please don't get lost in the sauce. Guys, we're going to make this one a quick one, man. A 30-minute one. The last thing I want to touch on is Andy Ruiz's thick thighs and big eyes, dude. Oh my God, man. This is kind of old, but I came across another video of Ruiz doing leg extensions, or I don't know what. Yeah, I believe they're called leg extensions. And holy cow, Ruiz's legs are ripped. The first time I had seen his ripped legs were in a picture, in an image. And I was like, oh, those are ripped. But when you see the video of his legs extending and his quads contracting and all the veins and the muscly, when you see the veins in the muscly sculpted legs that they are, it's just insane, man. It's crazy. I had no idea that Ruiz had legs like that. And it just goes to show you how much a different training camp with a different trainer and surrounded by other boxers, elite fighters who are just as motivated will change a fighter. His legs are fucking insane. They're so ripped. It's like, I want to say he's on steroids. Is he on that Canelo meat? Is he on those steroids? Because holy damn, I'm telling you, I can't wait. And this might sound a little weird, but I can't wait till we see a video of him just shirt off, short shorts or something, just at his weigh-ins. I can't wait to see him at the weigh-in when he's just in his undies. I want to see how ripped Ruiz looks like just in his undies. I want to take the picture of him in his next fight against Ariola while he's in the weigh-in, and I want to compare that weigh-in picture to his weigh-in against Anthony Joshua in their rematch, because I'm assuming we are going to be seeing a huge difference, and after that there'll probably be speculations about him being on Canelo meat, steroids, performance enhancing drugs, but I don't think so. I don't think that's the case. I just think the man found a really good trainer and a really good team, and that shit will do it to you. Show me your friends and I'll show you your fucking future. That is the truth. And I don't know, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for Ruiz to start fighting again. And you bet your ass I'm gonna watch the next fight, and you bet your ass I'm putting money on Andy Ruiz. I will say this though, Andy Ruiz, you need to start fighting more, dude, because inactivity will fucking burst your bubble. So get into that ring, and yeah. No, but basically I'm making this one a short one, guys. I have a lot of shit to do today. I have to go home, and I have to drive up. And when I say I gotta go home, I gotta go visit my family in my hometown. My nieces are having a birthday party, and I have to get to that. So this was really quick. This was very scratchy podcast. Honestly, guys, sometimes I have the good days, sometimes I have the bad days. I want to know what you guys think, though. So if you guys have the chance, and if you guys want to support this podcast, I urge you or encourage you and ask as a favor for you guys to leave maybe a review on Apple, Spotify, or on YouTube, in the comment sections of any of my social media platforms. Let me know what you guys think about the podcast. I really want to know. I mean, I'm very new to this platform, and I just want to, do the best that I can for you guys. I want to be entertaining, and I want to bring you shit that you guys actually care about, and I try not to be so boring. I don't know, guys. Look, here's this. Let me ask one favor. If you have the time right now, in the comment section or in the reviews, let me know what you think about this podcast. I'm never going to ask you for 5-star reviews, and never will I ask for that, because that is so fucking fake. People that do that, it's fakest shit in the world. I want you guys to leave me a 1 star if that's what you think. 2 stars if that's what you think. 3 stars. And if you really think I deserve a 5 stars, then give me that shit. But I want to know what you guys really think. Because if this is a 1-star podcast, but you guys are giving me 5 stars just because you guys are my friend, that's not going to help me improve. And I want to improve so that I can give you guys quality content. So let me know what the fuck is up in the comments and in the reviews. And let's talk business. And you guys can be a shareholder, or just, I don't know, you guys can have an opinion on this podcast. You guys can literally control what this podcast is going to be, how it improves, when it will improve. Yeah. So, yeah, guys, sorry. God, today was such a shitty podcast, but, you know, we're going to keep on trying. We're not going to give up. We're going to keep on rolling. And I'll see you guys next week. I don't know what's going on next week. You guys figure that shit out. Peace.